If you're trying to pull a heavy part out of a garage, lift a motor onto a workbench, or simply need a reliable way to move a ton of steel without turning your whole shop upside down, you're looking for something that won't break after a few jobs. That's easy enough to set up on a cramped floor, and that actually just does the job for the price you're paying. The truth is, a lot of gantry cranes on the market look good on paper but end up being a headache when you need them day to day. That's where the LBS 2,000 pounds electrical gantry crane comes into play. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What I found most interesting while digging through forums and a handful of user comments was how often people get stuck on two things: whether the crane will actually fit into their workspace, and whether the hoist system, electric or manual, will be intuitive enough for regular use. You're probably thinking, I have a 10-foot wide garage, a few concrete pillars, and I need to lift up to a ton. The headline specs of a 10.5 foot width and a 2,000 pound capacity sound like a perfect match, but the devil is in the details of the adjustable height, the way the trolley runs on the beam, and the included rigging kit that you'll actually need when you're trying to balance a heavy engine or a sheet of metal. First off, the frame. The crane's rectangular steel beam is welded from reinforced sections, and that reinforcement is one of the biggest reasons the unit feels solid when you set it down. The design allows you to open the legs to a full 10.5 feet, which is wide enough to span most two-car garages without having to clear a lot of ceiling space. The legs are also adjustable in height, which means you can raise the beam to accommodate higher loads or lower it for a tighter fit under low ceilings. In practice, I've seen users set the height anywhere from 4 feet up to about 8, depending on the job. The adjustment knobs are large enough to turn with a standard wrench, and they lock securely, no wobble after you're done tightening. That's a real benefit if your shop floor isn't perfectly level, because you can compensate for uneven concrete by nudging each leg until the beam sits evenly. Now, onto the hoist. LBS crane actually ships with two hoist options: an electric hoist that can be powered from a standard 110-volt outlet, and a manual hand chain hoist that you can operate without any electricity. The electric hoist is the one most people reach for because it lets you lift 2,000 pounds with just a push of a button. The motor runs at a modest speed, about 10 feet per minute, so it's not a race car, but it's fast enough to move a motor or a gearbox from ground to a workbench without breaking a sweat. The manual hoist, on the other hand, is a solid backup. If you're in a remote location without power, or if you just prefer a bit more control, the hand chain gives you fine-grained movement. The trade-off is that you'll need to physically pull the chain and crank the drum, which can be tiring if you're lifting near the maximum capacity for an extended period. That's why I'd recommend the electric hoist for any repetitive lifting scenario and the manual hoist only for occasional, low-frequency tasks. What really sets this crane apart is the rigging kit that comes in the box. It isn't just a hook and a sling. You get a scale, a shackle, a secondary hook, and even a small trolley that allows you to move the load along the beam while it's still suspended. In a real-world garage scenario, you could lift a 1,800 pounds engine block, place the scale on the load to confirm weight, then slide the trolley to a spot where the engine can be rolled onto a dolly. That kind of flexibility eliminates the need for extra tools that often end up being a separate purchase, and it's especially handy if you frequently shift large parts from one workstation to another. Who should buy this crane? If you're a hobbyist mechanic who already owns a garage or a small workshop and you regularly work on engines, transmission rebuilds, or heavy equipment, this gantry crane is built for exactly that kind of workload. The adjustable height and the two hoist options make it adaptable for a variety of lift heights, whether you're pulling a generator out of a storage area or raising a motor onto a bench. It's also a good fit for small fabrication shops that need to move steel plates or large sheet metal pieces around a 10-foot span. The included rigging kit saves you time and money because you won't have to source additional shackles or slings. On the flip side, if you're looking for a crane to use in a professional industrial environment, say, a plant with a need for continuous heavy lifting, a high-speed production line, or a requirement for safety certifications beyond standard